particular, but we are going to be getting into yet another matchup for you. It is going to be Rosty taking on Noblord. Rosty, of course, finished second to Cydonia in the prelims last year for the Americas region, and then Noblord did just recently lead his collegiate team Rutgers to a victory at the TESPA Championship Tournament. So both of these guys have a lot of records and are very prestigious players.
Right, and they're both like super vocal on Twitter too. Noblord especially, he's always posting all these stats and data analytics on Twitter that are super interesting to look at and check out, and he's really been analyzing the metagame and trying to predict who's going to win, and a lot of his predictions are actually pretty accurate.
He's a good guy with numbers. He's very, very intelligent, obviously a college student, and he has had great success not only with competitive Hearthstone in the HCT series before, but through other venues like TESPA. And it's going to be Noblord on his Paladin taking on Rosty with the Mage. And looking at how this series has gone thus far, Rosty took a win in Game 1 in a Warrior Mirror. Then in Game 2, Noblord took a win with his Warrior against this Mage that Rosty is playing currently. Game 3, Noblord also took a win with his Shaman against Rosty's Priest.
All right, and now we're caught up all the way here where Rosty is trying to win with the Mage up against Noblord's Paladin. And this is the first time he's queued up the Paladin this series. Control Paladin has been a deck that some players have been struggling with more than other decks. But how do you feel like the matchup really goes against Mage?
I think it's all right, especially because this Rallying Blade tech does help you deal against early aggression in the form of Mana Worms, so it's coming in very hot here. Depending on how much health regen Noblord has, he will be able to sustain in the late game against Rosty's Burn. And the late game development from Rosty really sits in the form of Fireland's Portal and then the minions that you get off of Atiesh from Medivh. So if Noblord does have equality consecration clears, he has very efficient ways of getting through the late game from Rosty. So for me, it's all about staying out of range of that burn and dealing efficiently with the early game, which it seems as though he's doing well.
Well, as efficiently as you can, I guess. He's at 16 life already, so, I mean, Mana Worm will do that to you. It's quite an aggressive card, able to put forth a lot of pressure. So, good luck, though. 16's not a very healthy life total to be at against Mage. Rosty's already has 11 burn in his hand, so he's getting close to the point where he can start threatening Noblord with lethal.
And just taking a look at Noblord's deck, he does have 2 copies of Forbidden Healing, as well as 2 copies of Ivory Knight. And Rag Lightlord. So if you're talking about control paladins that can heal, this is the one.
Right. A lot of the paladin players that have been playing control have often run only 1 forbidden healing. So that inclusion of the 2nd forbidden healing is definitely something that's going to help him out in this matchup in particular. Another interesting note about Noblord's paladin deck, he only has 1 copy of Consecration, which you would think Consecration's like just a staple 2 of in Paladin, right?
That's surprising.
It's a really bad card in Control Mirrors. It doesn't get a lot of value in Control Mirrors. It's much better, and it's at its best point against aggro. And with the addition of Primordial Drake, you don't actually need that many equality activators because that can be, your 4th equality activator. So these are tech choices that he's made that can help him out in these control matchups.
It's actually a great point. And then in that place, Noblord does have the N'Zoth, the Corruptor, in the very last spot. So it looks like the only real activators that he has are the Karen Bloodhoof as well as the Tyrion. But with Stonehill Defender, you can often net yourself more than 1 copy of Tyrion. Getaway Kodo and Redemption as well can increase your Tyrion count. So often N'Zoth with just those 2 high-quality minions is going to be enough to win you control mirrors.
For sure. And Rosty's trying to control the board as much as he can here rather than, just trying to go for the fireball face, burn all the way over the top. So, because he knows all that healing is there.
Well, Rosty has a lot of high-value cards in hand, but going to be shy on burn. So it is looking like Medivh into these really great spells will build him up quite a large board presence, which Noblord, with his current hand, is going to have trouble dealing with. Red Mana Worm is actually a really good drop.
Yeah, that's a scary card to deal with. As Noblord, you have to be kind of afraid that that can get ramped way through the roof by a Mage deck, because the Mage deck, the Sigunther Mage, often runs a lot of spells. So that thing can get out of control extremely quickly if left undealt with. He does have a taunt in the way, but he may choose to just respond to it immediately here and get it out of the way so it's not a problem for the future. I wouldn't be surprised. And yeah, we do see him just end up going for that Terran play just to try and clean that up, because it's a minion that could just snowball the game and take a win away from you, especially with Primordial Cliff.
Yes. All right, so Medivh coming down on 8, and so much fantastic follow-up that is really going to be the entire crux of Rosty's board presence in the late game, except Harrison Jones will knock it down entirely. So
yeah, that just removed most of the value from Rosty's deck, because that's the finisher in the deck. There's Medivh and Alexstrasza, and that's about it for the top end, unless you count Fireland's Portal as a top-end card. But that Medivh just got completely destroyed, set down to a 1-7, the Atiesh removed. How is Rosty expected to win a value game when the power of his deck just got completely taken away?
Well, it just means that he's not going to be able to play for value. He's going to have to play a burn strategy, but with 2 copies of Forbidden Healing, 2 Ivory Knights, and a Rag Lightlord in Noblord's deck,
yeah,
that's going to be tough to do.
He's already got half the healing in his hand, too. He's got the Forbidden Healing, and he's got the Ivory Knight. So stringing together this burn plan is going to be extremely difficult, but there's no way Rosty can believe he's going to win on value. So he has to try and find some alternative way to win this game. I believe he's going to try and go for the burn plan, and he is going to be most likely a bit sad.
I mean, unless these are the 2 best Firelands portals in history, even if they net 2 copies of Earth Elemental, I don't think that's going to be enough.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. He needs to get him into a life total. That's the 2nd Fireball, so that's nice to have. Now he needs to just like hover him around this 15 where you can be kind of threatening lethal, but you know, wait a little bit, force the Forbidden Healing to come out, then hit them with the Alexstrasza, then apply the burn afterwards. So Rosty needs to really be focusing on how does he bait this healing out. And it's really tricky to do when they can just get little bits of healing with Ivory Knight without having to commit that Forbidden Healing. So Noblord, you know, being a good player, doesn't go with the crazy Forbidden Healing here and opening himself up to an Alexstrasza. He just takes the slower route, gets enough healing to make sure he won't die, and be conservative with his Forbidden Healing for later, once more burn is committed. And Wicker Flame's just going to generate even more healing for him. So now he's winning the value game. He has healing on the table that's constant, and he has healing in his hand. And he's starting to get enough pressure to where he can just kill Rosty. And here goes the all-in.
I mean, it's what he's got to do, but when Noblord can simply
kill him,
Forbidden Healing for 20 and then kill Rosty.
Right, yeah, he just has lethal on the backswing of this. Just plenty of damage on board.
Hammer.
He only needed 2 to close it, so it was very likely that he would be able to finish Rosty here, but Rosty had no other choice. This game has been in desperation mode for the last 5 turns, so as soon as that Pyroblast came off the top, he knew exactly what to do to have any chance of winning this game. So I still think it was the right play, even though it did result in him dying.
I mean, he did pick up the much-needed burn, but after Harrison came down on the Medivh and he was forced into Plan B, which was really never going to work against Noblord's Paladin build. That's just, unfortunately, the way that those decks then line up. So, unfortunate for Rosty, but Noblord is going